Hey guys, Marshall here again. Today we want to continue that talk about peaceful, healthy wealth, and this one it's gonna be more about developing wealth, and but also we do want to revisit this. There's actually kind of like a spectrum itself between um, health to wealth in a way, and I actually do think there's somewhat of a sort of normalized pattern towards development. I know we talked about uh, the four sectors of like wealth, love, happiness, and health. Uh, but I really think there's somewhat of a direction here to this, and really I think it's more so starting out with your own health. Uh, And so, if you establish a good, healthy lifestyle, especially if it's like from a young age, and then you sort of start developing skills to sort of build wealth, then you can find love. You sort of an environment where you hopefully you can find love and have gratitude to be able to love, and uh, and then you'll find that peace and happiness. I think that's sort of like the normal direction in that. That's not really the spectrum we're covering today. I swear a bird just like flew into this gutter here. Something like that. But so the spectrum we're talking about today is there's several books also we want to talk about today. I'm going to start with that actually. Uh, the Millionaire Next Door, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and Think Like a Monk. And so now back to the spectrum here. Let me find this spectrum. I don't even know where this is right now. Um, okay, so you're over here like poverty, um, and so you to get out of poverty, you sort of have to develop some leverage in strategy. Um, and we'll talk about that for a second. In Think Like a Monk, he really makes this an important subject, and that is finding skills um, that you not only you enjoy but you're good at. So that this can kind of create a passion, because like if you can continue developing these skills because you're passionate about it, you can lead that into sort of like a business or whatever it may be, a career path, things like that. And so that is also going to be very healthy for yourself too. And that kind of create some balance in the health and wealth there, and an enjoyment in what you're doing. You're cultivating a strong skill set that you also enjoy. So that's really important. And then you can get to that side, the other side, which is, or not the other side, but on the spectrum, you're creating somewhat an urgency, and that's part of the passion. You know, a passion and an urgency to create some change for yourself, and then when you develop that passion, you have to stay disciplined on that passion, and you have to maintain that urgency to really seek profits and things like that. And um, I want to talk about the some other books where, like The Millionaire Next Door. Um, that book is very important to really understand. It's a very dry read and a very even a dry listen, um, and it talks about the lifestyles of most millionaires, and most of them are very frugal about their spending, and they're very geared towards reinvesting. And for people out there, I'm hoping that you're like in your early 30s or below, in your early or in your 20s, and even below that. If you're watching this from a young age, is even better, to sort of develop this mindset where you're sort of taking your money and sort of finding ways to invest and sort of try to make money off assets. And so that also is part of the Rich Dad Poor Dad, where you're creating this new way of thinking, and that is that your assets are kind of working towards for you. And no matter what your career path is, if you take your money that you make and you sort of just try to throw it at like things that aren't even they're not going to provide you with anything besides like I don't know, maybe fuel your ego and things like that, or maybe it's just like a short term burst of enjoyment. Um, that's a pattern that it isn't really a growth pattern. And so what I would really like to do is to stress to you guys how important that is, to sort of develop a newer mindset where instead you're not spending your money to like drink booze on the weekend, and instead trying to reinvest that into assets. And I get a lot of people that are just like, because I invest in crypto, they're thinking, oh, that's very volatile. Oh, that's very volatile. And yes, it is, but there's also some big gains there. There's risk there, but then also people in their lives have these own risks, whether it's gambling or they're pushing their money towards things like drinking, and so you're actually even risking your own health in a way. So yeah, there's risk everywhere, and so maybe gear your risk towards uh, like improving your financial situation. So that's like, it's just a very fundamental reason, or a fundamental principle to almost like all of these like general and like pro investing lifestyle books and things like that, is just changing that mindset and not trying to chase the ego and try to seem like you're that you have more status. People trying to like seem like they have more status than they even do, are wasting that possibility where they could actually even achieve a lot of abundance. Um, and so once you've created that strategy, you've had that urgency, you're disciplined about your strategy, and now this actually is very similar to a video we did before about the big picture, which you could revisit that one, and that's also in this playlist of mentoring 365. um, so the big picture, you want to audit what you're doing towards your big picture, so you can make sure that you're still on that path where you can see where you're trying to go. You're trying to see like where are you going to take this business, where are you going to take this career, what's the big picture here. Are you still moving up towards something that really is going to um, solidify um, who you are and what you're really working for? And that is really true. That is truly wealthy there. If you can sort of think about the big picture and think about where you want your business to go, um, and that really is like a core essence about you. But your business is like, if you have a business, it's like a reflection of you and your core essence, and and I feel like I sort of lost track of that whenever I was working with my brother in landscaping. We had a landscaping business, and even though I was like big picture thinking about being a partner with my brother, I wasn't really taking on that picture of like, where is the business going to go? Where are we taking the business? Whereas my brother had really embodied that idea, and it actually stressed him out a lot. But he was sort of embodied within the business was a part of him, and he was he was sort of pushing that big picture, um, and still now he has a landscaping business, and it does really well for him, so well that he's actually uh, making money while also living out. He's out west right now, just kind of chilling. Um, he can make enough money in several months of the year where he can actually he's even reinvesting money and so forth, and he's not worried about these microtransactions of the business, or these small like things that sort of stress him out. So he's able to find some enjoyment in reaching that investor stage where his money's working for him, his business is working for him, and and he's able to be a little bit financially stable. But what am I looking for? Financially free. He's a little bit financially free right now. Um, and I don't know how long he is free, but right now he's free. A lot of people are very much stuck in a cycle where they have to meet these sort of payments for their houses and things like that, and they sort of develop a lot of debt in ways, and so they're always trying to work and and make dents at this debt and stuff like that. And so that's very important for you to sort of think about that being in your future, especially um, especially how expensive it is to even buy a house right now. So think about that. That's in your future where you're gonna have to either buy a house and things like that, and you have to sort of create this goal. This goal should your ultimate goal should be somewhat financially free, where you can sort of uh, let your business sort of work itself in a way. That's like the ultimate goal, really. So that you can, even if you really want to chase more wealth, you can sort of focus on even developing a new business and things like that. So that is like, I think that's like one of the most healthy forms of wealth, is to use your gains as a way to find freedom, to do more things that you'd like to do. And a lot of times that means sacrificing a lot. So my brother sacrificed a lot of time and energy into his business, so much that he actually, you know, I mean, he was a little bit obsessed with it, and now he's sort of finding a way to sort of free himself from it. So at times you may need to sacrifice certain things to sort of in a development of the business, but then be able to look back at it and really see what it is that you've accomplished. And I actually had to, I had to help my brother see that, really. I think he was very stressed out, and I'm like, dude, what you've got going for you, there's so many people that would love to have that. And there's actually so many people that would actually hate on that idea of running a landscaping business. Or they see somebody as just being like a groundskeeper, but they don't even see the whole business side of things, the creating of the cash flow creation, and then being able to be an investor also. And so that's Rich Dad Poor Dad for you. So whenever in Rich Dad Poor Dad, you want to go from employee to self-employed to business owner to investor, and that's the big process between in Rich Dad Poor Dad, is getting away from just being an employee to being self-employed business owner, and be able to invest the money that you're making and reach that sort of stage where your assets kind of like work for you in a way. And you can actually even make money overnight while you're sleeping if you're positioning good assets. So I would very much love to see you get exposed to some of these like business books. Um, Here's some principles of Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich don't work for money. It's not about how much you make, but how much you keep. Rich focuses on asset columns. play the game through taxes and corporations. A rich investment money strategy. Oh, rich and bold investment money strategy. Work to learn, not for money. That's a good one right there at the end. Work to learn. Work to improve a skill set, uh, um, and then that skill set that you learn, you really enjoy. Hopefully, you enjoy learning. That turns into a passion. You turn that like you turn that sort of skill set that you're learning into a passion by really seeing the vision of where it can take you. So, if you're having trouble developing a passion for your work, you need to sort of look forward at that vision. Maybe even whenever you're going to sleep, visualize what it is that you want to get to, and that's something I actually been doing more and more of, and visualizing what it is you're trying to do, and it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, and then you can create a professional craft out of this. Hopefully, you pick something that is a monetization skill and you're passionate about, and you cultivate it enough where it can become a professional craft, um, where people really seek your skill set. And that's a lot of these. A lot whenever you go to college, a lot of times there's a lot of different paths that aren't really geared towards a skill set that is very valuable. And so maybe it might be time to even think about um, whether your skill set has a value for other people, because as you're sort of working your way up and developing this a skill set to sort of create that cash flow, um, it's going to be very important for to reach that investor stage, because if your skill set can create that cash flow, that just gives you more opportunity um, reach that investor stage, to be able to push around money um, more, and be even to take on more risk because you have more of a cushion. And that's one thing I did like to revisit is taking on you. It's not doesn't it just make sense to just take on risk, but have an understanding of why it is you're invested in certain things and what you're going to get out of them, and then be able to take on that risk knowing what it is that you're going to get out of those assets. You're not always going to know, but there's ways to really gear a portfolio to be able to be stable enough to really generate assets for you. So you definitely need to sort of develop this investor mindset. And I would recommend a podcast that I got into, which is uh, We Study Billionaires on Spotify. You can search that. Great podcast. They talk about all kinds of investing techniques and business health and all kinds of things like that. So you can sort of develop a mindset where you can sort of evaluate risk versus reward in certain investments. And then generally, if you just want to get some general returns, which is good for a lot of people, a random walk down Wall Street will actually tell you about how there's it's not even realistic to really beat the market and be like a day trader if you're trading stocks, because um, it's just really hard to do that. So he suggests in a random walk down Wall Street that you invest in the like broad-based index funds, and so what you're going to get is like exposure to a lot of investments, and usually you should be able to generate some decent returns. Not going to be crazy, but I think like 5% to even up to like 8% per year. And whenever you think about how the money is actually losing its um, value in a way by probably like 5 to 8% per year, so it's something very important to consider. And actually, that also reminds me to maybe even consider understanding, have a better understanding of how money works, because the world is changing, and a lot of people are deflecting that idea that the world is changing and money is changing, because it is changing. Um, Even if you go out and try to buy things, I just went to the ballpark. They don't even accept cash. So there's a lot of businesses out there that aren't even going to accept cash anymore. It's a digital world that we live in, and having a great understanding of that world, new changing world, um, new changing technology, be a little bit present in what's actually going on, and that's going to actually really help you with your investment lifestyle and everything like that. So I definitely would. Everybody should actually have some ways to invest. Like my dad's really kind of into his real estate investments he's made. He bought an apartment. He ended up selling that for a lot of money years ago. So he's really confident in that style of investing, and for some people that would be good too. Acquiring some property, if you can prior, if you can. A lot of people recommend like buying a property like a duplex, so you can rent out some of the duplex, or even you could even rent out both of the duplex and then live somewhere else. So you can generate some returns out of owning your assets. So that even like pay for themselves, which is really ideal. Which is really ideal. That's what a lot of people would talk about as being good investments. And so I hope this is helpful for you, to sort of maybe even change. Maybe this sparked a little bit of you know a need to find some more insight on investing. It's a really good way to spend your time figuring out um, investment techniques, so that you can hopefully make money down in the long run, so that you can enjoy longer vacations. You can enjoy maybe having multiple houses, one in the north and one in the south, and stuff like that. I mean, these things I believe are possible for me, and for anybody that really invest in that skill set. I'm very invested in trying to make um, a better future for myself through investing. So that's where a lot of my time and energy has went in the last few years, is understanding economics, understanding how money's changing, understanding what makes a valuable investment. Um, the reinvesting of cash flow into the business to bring rewards to shareholders, and then in the that's more of like the stock world, and also having a business that has competitive advantages, and even like maybe even moats, that sort of disrupt other people from even entering that sort of sector. One example would be Nvidia. Nvidia right now is really taking over that sector of AI and like GPU and rendering and things like that. There's really nobody close to them right now, and there is a big barrier to getting into that world, and fighting them for their. It's just not. I don't really see anybody overtaking their market share right now. So maybe like on a minimal level, but they got something really good going on there. And if you would have seen that a little bit earlier, which which was pretty obvious actually to a lot of people that own Nvidia GPUs, that they were pretty elite. Um, but then in the crypto world, when you're thinking about in the same way, uh, cash flow, liquidity in certain assets is really what drives crypto prices, crypto value up. And so people that see like a return on their investment, whether they're a shareholder, that's a really an attractive situation. That's why Bitcoin does so well. So it really just comes out down to that fundamental um, cash flow, reinvesting the cash flow in crypto. that cash flow is going into a blockchain, and hopefully that's operating in a way to give the people that use that asset the utility that they need, and that actually drives prices up. And so the more cash flow, the more liquidity, the more money for you. So that's really going to be it for me today on this topic. I really enjoyed this one because I have been very involved in these principles, and I really do believe in these principles, and they haven't generated amazing returns for me, but enough to be satisfied for now. And I think that in the future they'll be providing me with a lot of monetary returns and things like that. So thank you so much for watching. Please think about where you are in that spectrum. Poverty, go from poverty to developing a strategy, urgency, and a passion, and then discipline, audit the big picture, and then generate that wealthy lifestyle, that freedom, the financial freedom, which is really the most pivotal point of wealth. Wealth, it just isn't riches, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and then once again, check out any other videos. We do deep dives on spirituality, self-development. We cover a lot of different topics in the Mentoring 365. I'm absorbing a lot of information throughout the world right now, and I'd like to give that to you guys. So please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Love and appreciate you for watching. See you guys.